The story of America's long-range ballistic missiles is one of power, deterrence, and constant modernization. For decades, the backbone of the United States nuclear triad has rested on the shoulders of the Intercontinental Ballistic Missile Fleet, better known as ICBMs. Since the height of the Cold War, these missiles have served not as weapons to be fired, but as guardians of balance, a reminder to adversaries that any strike against the US would bring swift and devastating retaliation. As we move into 2026, the focus sharpens on two names, the legendary Minuteman III and its long-awaited successor, the Sentinel. The Minuteman III ICBM first entered service in 1970. During a period when the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a nuclear arms race. Designed with a range of over 13,000 kilometers, the missile was capable of carrying multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, or MIRVs. That meant one missile could strike several different targets at once. Over the years, upgrades to guidance systems, propulsion, and warhead safety have kept it in service long past its original design life. Today, more than 400 Minuteman remain deployed in hardened silos across the American Midwest, standing silent but ready around the clock. However, despite continuous modernization, the Minuteman III is an aging system. By 2026, it will be over 55 years old. Many of its components rely on decades-old technology, with spare parts becoming harder to source and maintain. Critics have long argued that relying on such an old system creates risk, both in terms of security and in terms of the credibility of America's nuclear deterrent. For this reason, the U.S. Department of Defense launched the ground-based Strategic Deterrent Program, now officially called the Sentinel, to replace the Minuteman fleet. The Sentinel program is not simply about building a new missile. It is about redesigning the entire infrastructure of America's ICBM force. This includes new silos, modern command and control systems, updated launch facilities, and the integration of cutting-edge technology designed to outlast decades of future threats. Unlike the Minuteman, which was born in the Cold War, the Sentinel is designed for a 21st century battlefield, one where cyber warfare, hypersonic missiles, and advanced missile defense systems all play critical roles. So what makes the Sentinel different? At its core, the missile will have longer range, greater accuracy, and improved reliability. Engineers are designing it to withstand modern anti-missile defenses, ensuring it remains a credible deterrent even against near-peer rivals like Russia and China. It will also feature modular systems, meaning upgrades can be integrated more easily as technology evolves, avoiding the decades-long stagnation that has challenged the Minuteman program. While exact specifications remain classified, analysts expect the Sentinel to carry a single warhead in compliance with nuclear treaties, though its architecture would allow for flexibility if treaties were to change. By 2026, the transition between Minuteman III and Sentinel is accelerating. The Air Force has already begun preparing bases and silos for the upgrade. The Sentinel is scheduled to enter service later this decade, replacing every Minuteman III missile on a one-to-one basis. Until then, the Minuteman fleet continues its mission, maintained by teams of airmen who still rely on 1970s-era equipment, even floppy disks, to ensure the system remains secure and functional. While this often becomes the subject of humor and media report, the reality is that the old technology has proven remarkably resilient to cyber attacks, an unintentional advantage in today's digital battlefield. One of the key debates around America's long-range ballistic missile program is cost. The Sentinel project is estimated to cost more than $100 billion over its lifetime, a staggering figure that has drawn criticism from arms control advocates and budget analysts alike. Supporters argue that the cost is necessary to maintain a safe, secure, and effective nuclear deterrent, particularly in a world where both Russia and China are modernizing their nuclear arsenals. Opponents, however, question whether such spending is justified in an era of growing reliance on submarines and long-range bombers, which provide more flexible nuclear options. Beyond cost, there are ethical and strategic debates. Some argue that maintaining land-based ICBMs increases the risk of accidental nuclear war, since these missiles are on constant alert and must be launched quickly in the event of an incoming strike. Others point out that their very presence ensures adversaries must target hundreds of silos, spreading out potential enemy attacks and complicating any first strike strategy. In other words, the missiles act as a shield, not just a sword. In 2026, as geopolitical tensions rise, the importance of long-range ballistic missiles remains clear. Russia continues to test new ICBMs, such as the Sarmat, capable of carrying massive payloads. China is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal, building new missile silos and developing hypersonic glide vehicles. North Korea continues to test missiles with intercontinental range. In this environment, the United States sees the Sentinel not as an option, but as a necessity to ensure deterrence and stability. For the everyday citizen, these developments may seem distant, hidden beneath the earth in silos across Montana, North Dakota, and Wyoming. Yet the existence of these weapons shapes global politics in profound ways. They are the silent guardians of deterrence, weapons meant never to be used, but always to be feared. The transition from Minuteman III to Sentinel symbolizes more than just a technological upgrade. It represents America's commitment to maintaining its strategic edge well into the 21st century. It's also important to recognize the human side of this story. The missileers, young officers who spend days underground in launch control centers, remain the human link in this system. Their mission is not glamorous, often filled with long hours of waiting, but it is vital. They embody the paradox of nuclear deterrence, the idea that peace is preserved by the readiness for unimaginable destruction. In 2026, their duties remain unchanged, even as the weapons they oversee prepare to transition into a new era. Looking forward, the Sentinel program faces challenges, from cost overruns to potential delays, but the direction is set. By replacing the aging Minuteman fleet, the United States signals to the world that its land-based deterrent will remain strong for decades to come. Whether one views this as a necessary safeguard or a costly relic of the Cold War, one thing is undeniable: long-range ballistic missiles continue to define the balance of power in our world. As we stand in 2026, the Minuteman III still holds the line, just as it has for over half a century. But the Sentinel is on the horizon, a reminder that even the most enduring systems must eventually give way to new generations. The story of America's ICBMs is not just about missiles and warheads, though it is about strategy, deterrence, and the complex choices nations make to preserve security in an uncertain world. And so the silos remain closed, the missiles silent, the crews ever vigilant. For most of us, they are invisible, yet they shape the very world we live in. The Minuteman III's legacy is secure, but the Sentinel promises to write the next chapter. In 2026, America's long-range ballistic missile program is at a turning point, bridging the past and the future, ensuring that deterrence endures in a rapidly changing global landscape.